Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Running the Bases. I'm your host, Michael Garaffa, joined by Ryan Blank and Nick Nath. We are back, baby, after a 3-week layoff, a little summer break, I'll say. We are here, we are back for the summer, and we are rip-roaring and ready to go for summer of Running the Bases. It's great to be back. Marco, unfortunately, not able to be here with us today, but I am happy to be back. I'm sure you guys are happy to be back. How have you been? It's been 3 weeks. What's new in your life, and how is life?
I'm coaching baseball, so that's basically my entire life right now. But, I really miss Nick, man.
I miss you guys, man.
I miss the positive energy the kid always brings. And then, Michael, how was your girlfriend? I missed you too. How was your girlfriend?
How was going to the Mets games?
Oh, it was great. We had a lot of fun. It was a great 2 weeks. Mets games were great. I went to 5 Mets games and they won 4 out of the 5. So I cannot complain.
That's not a good enough win percentage, my friend.
The only game they lost was a game they should have won, but
hey, it's okay. I've been to 3 Royals games. 1-0. So
been a one game. They won.
Oh, nice! That a boy, Nick. Where did you go?
Oh wow, this was back like 6th or 7th grade. It was actually a walk off. Alex Vila.
I thought you were talking about right now. I was like, you went to a Tigers game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Tigers will be out in LA next year, at least.
Yeah, they're actually in Anaheim in a couple weeks, but
What stadium do you live closest to?
Dodger. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they'll be at Dodger Stadium next year. So
yeah. I'm so excited.
You've got to go see them. No questions about it. So yeah, we're back, and I mean there's been so much going on in baseball, and so we're gonna start something new this week that I didn't tell the guys about that I think will be fun. I like throwing in these.
Well, you technically told us, but just a little bit late.
No, I didn't tell you at all. This is like brand new, where we are going to be doing 1-minute roundtables on on things that are important to talk about, where we're going to have 1 minute on a topic to talk about it each. I'll go first on it, obviously, so that you can.
You go first. I'm about to go off. Let me go first. Please let me go first.
Do you even know what we're talking about?
I have a topic that I'd like to discuss.
What is it?
The replay system needs to be abolished. I've had enough.
Okay, well then I'll throw
atrocious.
I'll throw umpires in there. That because Marco's not here, it's going to end up being the same time in the end as if Marco was here. So we'll do that second because I have another thing I want to talk about first. But
I'm all ears.
3 topics for today, and basically what it is, we're just going to go in order. I'm going to have a timer up on the screen on my phone, and once it hits 1 minute, you're done. If you keep talking, I'm just going to mute you. So stop for a minute and try and wrap it up, because we can jam pack as much information as we can in a minute, and that's the point. So the first thing I want to talk about is sticky substance talk. There has been so much going on between spin rates and Trevor Bauer and ignoring everyone else whose spin rate has dropped drastically since they announced this. And pretty much since all of this sticky talk has taken place, we haven't talked about it at all because they started talking about it more right when we stopped, and it's kind of escalated a lot quicker than I think any of us anticipated. So we'll start. Ryan, if you want to really go first for all of them, then you can, and I'll just go last if you really would like to, but that is up to you.
No, I'll go first for this one. First off, I want to put out, I know Jacob deGrom is using.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I just want to put that out there. But no, here's the thing.
Okay, wait. I have to start the timer. Ready? Are you ready? Okay,
yes,
ready?
count
3,
down.
2, 1, go.
Here's the thing. I am really tired of this topic because Major League Baseball has to decide, are they going to allow 1 substance or 0 substances? Because it's getting ridiculous at this point. We know Trevor Bauer's using. We know Garrett Cole's been using. We know all these guys are using. The most blatant one that I've seen is John Means on his glove. His middle finger got stuck to his glove. It's obvious that players are using, pitchers are using. Just make your call. Allow 1 substance or allow no substances. I think that is where the MLB needs to get it down. And I think that on the flip side, I don't think hitters mind it too much because I think they'd rather deal with a guy who has a better curveball than getting hit in the ribs by a 95-mile-per-hour fastball that gets away from him. That's something that I think you have to look at as well. But the MLB has to make a decision. Allow 1 substance or allow nothing at all.
Perfect. Right on time with 1 second to spare. Let me put my phone on airplane mode. That'll probably save us a little extra pain too. Nick, we'll roll it over to you. You are on the clock in 3, 2, 1.
I mean, you guys all saw the Garrett Cole interview, I'm sure. He didn't deny anything. He was like, no, basically what he was saying is I've been using it for a while now, and so is everybody else. And Passon said it perfectly. If the guy that's getting paid $325 million is using it, then there's a good chance that every other guy in the league is using him too, because it's not a coincidence, right? We've seen the graphs, we've seen the charts from Garrett Cole's previous starts, and when it was announced that the sticky stuff might have that in play, his spin rate's gone down drastically since then. And honestly, it's just sad for the game of baseball. It's just sad that players are doing this behind the scenes and none of us are knowing about it. And it puts hitters at a disadvantage, I feel like. I mean, the batting average rate is like the lowest it's been in years now, at like 230. And overall, I think it just hurts the game of baseball and all that. But I don't know. I think it'll come to a point where we might not have an agreement between the union and the players' union. So we'll have to see how Rob Manfred handles it.
Sorry, that's my timer stopper. So my turn. I'll just put the 1 minute down here because I can see it. All right, so I think it's interesting that both of you guys have opposing viewpoints on this too, because I think that's definitely something. I mean, everyone seems to be disagreeing, and I agree with Nick. I believe that the use of sticky substances is a really bad thing. First of all, if you're getting to the major leagues, you clearly are good enough that you don't really need to use it. I highly doubt Garrett Cole used sticky stuff when he was in high school, probably not even in college. You can be good without needing to doctor the baseball. I mean, it's plain and simple. If you're in the major leagues, if you're making that much money, the sticky substances are definitely not making that much of a difference that it's going to change the way you pitch that much. Yeah, you might get hit a little bit harder. But if your ERA goes up to 3 because you're not using sticky substances, if no one else is, I mean, there was once a time where an ERA of 3 was Cy Young caliber in the early 2010s. So, you know, I just think it's bad for the game of baseball, and I think they've got to figure it out at some point. So, perfect. That's my minute.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes, of course.
Here's the thing. I think it is horrible for baseball. And trust me, I would love to live in the world where there's no substance use with pitchers because I'm a big integrity for the game guy, and it's horrible for the integrity of baseball. But there are just so many guys using it. The MLB has to make their decision. The right decision is to ban it all and to deal with it by suspending guys who have been using it. But it's Rob Manfred. He's not going to do that. Rob Manfred's a joke. So just wanted to add that in there, that it shouldn't be allowed, but at this point, I don't know where they're going to go with it.
And I'd say that if it is allowed, then you then would have to, in turn, if you're going to allow that kind of stuff, which we see that they're not going to, but if they do, then you also have to allow hitters to have pine tar on the bats or have corked bats. Like, you can't just let pitchers get away with it and then let hitters just be at the disadvantage. So that's the first thing. And hey, that was great. I like that. 1 minute, we got all the information in there in about 4 to 5 minutes. So I think that was really great. So now the next topic here, as Ryan brought up, is umpires replay system. We only have a minute, Ryan, so try and squeeze it in there. It's everything on umpires, everything on replay. And again, like you just did after we were finished, you can always throw something in there after we're all done. But you are up. I'll give you your countdown from 3. You ready? Yes, 3, 2, 1, go. You're muted.
Oh, it's a replay system. It is pathetic. It is horrible. Yesterday, Carlos Santana hits a ground ball off the mitt of Matt Olson. Play made by Tony Kemp at second, throws over to first. Matt Olson's foot was never on the bag. They call him out. Go to the replay. Yeah, they'll certainly get the call right. No. The replay system does nothing. It is crooked. It is crap. Either reform it and make sure it's actually effective, or just get rid of it because it does nothing in the first place. The reason they brought it in is to fix umpires who make the wrong calls, because umpires suck. Well, guess what? The replay is just like the damn umpires. It sucks. Fix it or get rid of it. I'm tired of it. The Royals have been screwed by so many calls on this stupid replay system, and I know your teams have too. Reform it or get rid of it. I've had enough, and I think everyone else has.
Are we talking about the replay system or umpires in general?
Oh,
anything you want. System. You can go both. You can talk about both, because as we have seen, this year has been the year of umpires ruining baseball. So,
well, umpires are also blind. Their strike zone is here, 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 here.
that's true.
Like,
yes. All right.
It's your guess is as good as mine for a strike anymore.
That's very true. Nick, you are on the clock in 3, 2, 1.
I just feel like with players and fans, the one thing that we look for when it comes to like umpiring and like reffing and like all that type of stuff is just consistency. You know, if it were to stay consistent the entire time, then there really wouldn't be an issue with it. But it's the fact that, I don't know, some of these umpires have different strike zones, some of these umpires have different, I don't know, and like the whole thing with the replay, like if I can make the correct call from my couch and they can replay it for 5 minutes and they still get it wrong, there's an issue with that. I remember earlier, I think it was a Phillies-Braves game. The Phillies player didn't even touch home plate. We knew, we all saw it. We all knew what the correct call was. They went back for 5 minutes about the call, and they still called him safe. And I'm just sitting there like, what is the actual point of wasting everyone's time if you're going to get the call wrong in the first place? So I don't know. For me, it just comes like from a consistency standpoint. Just get the call right. It's really not that hard. They have better cameras than we do at home. It's just sad.
Consistency is dead.
Very true. So
and it's horrible. It's horrible. Umpiring is horrible nowadays. I umpired for 3.5 years. I think I can make some better calls than some of the MLB umps. It's pathetic. Like, you know what? If you have a weird strike zone or a bad strike zone, at least make it consistent throughout the game. Just be consistent, not all over the place. And
that's
you're not saying any of it.
That's all we ask. Like I get 1 or 2 calls, like maybe tough, but like if you're constantly calling the same thing the entire game and it's just not a ball or a strike, then just please stop.
That's very true. All right, I'll roll my minute here. Let's go. Oh, and my Siri turned on at the worst possible time. So, that just happens to happen. All righty, so we're ready to go. 3, 2, 1. So, umpires, first of all, robotic strike zone needs to be here next year. I'm tired of umpires making the worst calls ever. There will be a pitch called right at the knees for a ball, and then another pitch 2 minutes later that's a foot lower that's called a strike. Like, if you can't do that and you're a major league umpire, there's something wrong. You are clearly a major league umpire for a reason. Get the call right. It's really not that hard. The other thing, I completely agree with Nick 100%. I was at a game in Arizona where I was sitting right down the first base line, clear view of first base. Umpire called the guy safe when I could tell by 1.5 miles that he was out from my seat. You put it on review, and clearly he was called out. The other thing, Mets were in a game against the Orioles last week where they reviewed it. They called the guy safe at first on a double play that would have ended the inning. His foot on the replay was clearly about a foot over the bag. He was clearly out. They called him safe. You've got to get it right. If everyone in the stadium can see that the call is out or safe, there's no reason for the review to be wrong. It's ridiculous at this point. So that's my minute. But yeah.
Can I bring up something else?
Yes.
Bobby Wood Jr. hit a home run the other night. It was earlier this week. His foot was on the bag. The umpire goes and cleans the plate that says he never touched it and called him out.
It's ridiculous. Umpires are taking control.
He is. I don't want to cuss. He is a lousy umpire and a lame excuse of an umpire. How about that?
I think what umpires are starting to realize is that they're on the way out. So they're trying to make their mark knowing that they're never going to be in games again. I mean, it's ridiculous. There should be a system in place that if you are the umpire at the stadium watching the review on the video screen, but you have the guy in your ear, if you're sitting in the stadium and you're looking at the screen saying, man, I got that call wrong. He's clearly out. But the guy in your ear says he's safe. You try to just be able to overrule him and be like, he's out. Like, I can see it with my own eyes. You can't have fans
do anything. They'll just make the call for their team.
No, I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about the umpire. If you're the umpire on the headset in the stadium,
you see,
like let's say you're the first base umpire.
I'm going to say it like this. An umpire is like a 2-year-old child, dependent on its father.
Yeah.
Or its parent. Just make the right call.
They don't want to admit they're wrong. That's like half the reason.
But it's like, seriously, like, grow up. It's like, just make the call.
That's all we ask for. Like, I don't care if you get it wrong at first. Just you have a chance to correct it now.
Yeah.
But it's even more laughable and frustrating when they look at it for 5 minutes and they still end up getting it wrong.
I mean, it is June. It is June, and we've had more bad calls that have not just been a ball that's called a strike consistently. It has been ridiculously terrible calls all year long. And I think the worst of them happened the other day in the Astros-Red Sox game where they called an infield fly on a shallow pop-up to center field. Like, how do you call an infield fly on it? And he dropped it. Like, that you are a major league umpire. If the ball is more than 5 feet past the grass in center field and the guy's still running for it, why are you calling an infield fly? Like, that guy needs to be fired. How are you umpiring a major league game?
Well, no, here's the thing. You can also put this on Manfred in the MLB office. There's no accountability for the umpires. They just let them do whatever, which is horrible and should not be allowed. I'm tired of the lack of accountability. Like, make the right call, go to the replay system, and get the right call.
Yeah.
It is annoying, and I am tired of this replay that was supposed to be the savior of the umpires. It's garbage, just like the umpires.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, yes, it reverses calls that were, first of all, this shows how many terrible calls are made by the umpires in the first place.
Here's the thing. They're only going to reverse the blatant calls.
Right.
There's blatant calls too. It's just there's no consistency. I feel like umps just don't care at a certain point.
Yeah.
Of the game. There's like, we're going to keep the call. Watch the play. Integrity of the game. Umpires are a part of the game.
When there is a guy umpiring in a major league game and you are making these ridiculous calls, I mean, it's one thing if you're watching a review and everyone in the stadium agrees, okay, where half people are saying he's clearly safe, half the people are saying he's clearly out, and it's like maybe this much of a difference. Like when you're watching replay and you say, okay, I really can't tell, that's okay to say, okay, it's inconclusive. But when you're watching a review and you see ball is in the mitt, foot is clearly not on the base, like you have a freeze frame of a close-up shot where the ball is clearly in the glove and his foot is clearly off the base, the runner. Like, he's out.
That should be an easy call on the field for the umpire.
Right.
But then if you have to review it, that's fine. Just get the call.
Get it right. Right.
It's rough.
I'm sorry I went on a little rant. It's
we all did.
Because everyone made such a big deal about the replay system and how it was going to bring more accountability and make the game correct per se and make it flow better and make sure we have the right calls on the field. No, it's not doing its job that they brought it in for. And honestly, if it's not going to do it, get rid of it.
I think I've lost more.
Good afternoon, boys.
Oh, hi.
Now,
I think I've lost more brain cells since the replay system's been intact.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, really.
What's the next topic, though?
Well, the next thing was going to be a discussion on our teams for a minute, but I don't think we really need to do that.
Nope. Don't want to talk.
Michael,
it was going to.
Eric, you're getting a phone call. It says scam likely.
Yeah, I don't want to answer it. Okay, Michael.
Why not? Your warranty on your vehicle might be up.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Michael, you brought up a good point about how, say, like, they're in the middle of a replay and the guy in New York is telling them one thing and, like, the right call in the field is another. So who's more to blame? The umps or, like, New York?
Umps.
Well, they are umps all around. There's still umpires in New York that are reviewing it. They need to have, like, a non-biased person that's a replay specialist. Like when Jim Joyce is in the replay center in New York or Alfonso Marquez is the replay chief in New York, like they're umpires too. If the umpire on the field is making the dumb call, clearly all the other umpires can make the same call. We need to have a guy who knows the baseball rules, or 30 of them.
It's not as much as the rules as being able to make the right call. You don't need to know every single rule to make a right call.
But like, there's a difference between the people who think that the ball needs to be in the heel of the glove for it to be an out, and the people who know that as long as the ball is inside the glove, touching any part of the glove, that it's an out. Like, there's a difference because there are some people and umpires that believe that the ball needs to be in the glove for it to be an out.
Also, as an umpire, you shouldn't be looking at the mitt.
Right.
What you're doing is you're looking at the base for the runner, and then you're hearing the ball hit the mitt.
Right, exactly.
And that's why umpires suck, because they don't do their job correctly.
Yes. Yeah, moral of the story, umpiring in 2021. Dumpster fire. So, that was pretty good. 20 minutes. Now we roll into the show topic. The topic of today's show is our new segment that we are doing here today that I think is going to be really fun. It is called Start, Bench, Demote. Now, this is going to be a really fun and really cool. It's going to be a fun game, I will say. We've had some really fun games here on the show. This is going to be very similar to the one that we did with Tim when he was here, the unbiased matchups, which was fun. It's going to just be a cool kind of thing. We all know the game Kiss, Marry, Kill, where, they show you three
that's
people.
technically not what it is, but
I know,
I'm
aware.
Actually,
Ryan,
we're PG on this channel. We love having
didn't need to
children
bring it
watch and hear our baseball knowledge.
You didn't need to bring it up. Kiss, Marry, Kill, where you're shown three pictures. You decide whether you want to kiss you have to kiss one, marry the other, and kill the other. There's no, I want to do marry both. You have to pick one for each. This is very similar where it's start, sit, and release. I'm going to give you guys three players. You're going to focus on them in their prime, or basically them at their best. You are going to have to start one, sit one, and by sit one, I mean sit one where they really just kind of they're bench guys. For pitchers, it's a little different. I actually don't think I have any. Yes, I do. I have one thing of relievers where you have to. One is basically he's going to be your main guy. The other one's probably is just for sitting a reliever. It's going to basically be he's not really playing at all. And then obviously releases, you're getting rid of him. So let's do it, shall we? I've got 4 matchups here for you. I initially had 6, but there were 2 in there that were of not really great players. But we just knew who they were, but I can cut them out for time's sake. So we have matchup number 1. It is also the thumbnail of this video. Evan Longoria, Ryan Zimmerman, and Justin Upton. Start, sit, release. We're going to do the research right here. We all have to do it. You are going to have to start one player, sit one player, and release one player. Again, I'll write it in the chat of our thing so that you guys can look at the players' names and not forget. It is not letting me type it. Hold on. It's still not letting me type it. And it's still not letting me type it. Hold on. Trying to type it in. And okay, well, it's not letting me type it. It's Evan Longoria, Ryan Zimmerman, and Justin Upton. So these guys in their primes. First of all, we got 2 third basemen and an outfielder. So a little bit different. I don't know why it wasn't letting me type them in there, but whatever. Ryan fortunately took care of it for us. So, I mean, you guys can chat about it too here. I guess I'll do a lot of the talking if you don't want to, verbalize your thinking process. But because we are primarily focusing on them in their primes, an example of this could be Evan Longoria, where he was in, let's find a great year for him. When he was in his prime, I mean, it was just a special time for Evan Longoria.
Got it.
I got it. Oh, Nick's got his. Okay, let's hear it.
Start Longoria, sit Upton, and release Zimmerman.
Wow. Okay. Bold move. That's a very bold move.
I agree. Starting Longoria, sitting Upton, releasing Zimmerman. Zimmerman's been Mr. National his entire career. He's had a good career. He's also run into a lot of injuries and a lot of inconsistencies. And then there's Longoria. When Longoria was in his prime, he was the best third baseman in baseball. And then Upton, when he was in his prime, he was crushing the ball.
In Arizona, yeah.
Yeah, in Arizona. He was a star. It's tough, but I got to go with those 2, and I'm releasing Zimmerman.
Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a different route for you guys. I am actually going to start Ryan Zimmerman. I'm going to sit Justin Upton and release Evan Longoria. Primarily because
Why did I know I was going to do this?
Listen to me.
I knew he was
going to do this. Longoria's prime was only 4 or 5 years. Zimmerman's prime was about 7-8 years. He was much better for a much longer time. And Upton in his prime, we all agree Upton is the odd man out here that gets the sit. But I just think Longoria had a much shorter prime, and I saw Ryan Zimmerman in his prime a lot. That dude could hit any pitch in the strike zone 400 feet. Like, he
Longoria,
was special.
I just feel like Longoria's prime was just better than every other player on this list. Like, he had a much bigger impact on his teams. Like, he was
exactly
the player on the Rays, like that on that team. Zimmerman,
you can't always look at the length of it. You have to look at how dominant they were in their prime, and that's how dominant Evan Longoria was.
And I feel like winning's part of it too. Like, Zimmerman hasn't won much until like 2019 was the first. I mean, obviously the Nationals haven't won, so that automatically rules him as a non-winner.
So, what are we considering Evan Longoria's prime for years here? Obviously, 2008. I'm thinking 2008 through 2013. Really, I think everything after that he kind of just fell off. I mean 2016 was a good year, but
2016, 36 home runs in 2016.
Yeah, but those 2014, 2015 years weren't as great. So what are we? I think we should establish what their prime
was
is.
Not good. 2015 wasn't good. 22 homers, 91 RBIs. 21 homers, 73 RBIs.
Okay, then. So we're doing 2008 then through 2016.
I would just look at his Rays years, honestly.
Okay. So then, 2008 through 2017. Not 2018, 2017. 2008 through 2017, he had 261 homers and a 270 batting average with an OPS of 823. So that is Evan Longoria's prime. Ryan Zimmerman's prime. Let's figure it out for him. We'll go 2006 because 2005 doesn't. Well, 2005 doesn't really count. 2006 all the way through, I would really say 2013. 2006 through 2013, which
I mean 2017
179. Yeah, but you can't count the years in between.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see your argument there for Ryan Zimmerman. And then Justin Upton. I'm just doing this for me at this point, just to kind of see. So Justin Upton's prime, we can say. I mean,
I have one closing argument.
Okay.
Who was on the cover of an MLB 2K game?
Longoria.
Case is closed. We're good.
Okay. Well, Javi Baez was on it last year, and I would say that he wasn't at the time. That wasn't the perfect time for him to do it. He could have been a few years earlier. So we'll say Upton, I'd say, would be 2009 through really 2018, to be fair. I mean, he had 30 homers in 2018. So 2009 through 2018, where he hit 269 homers batted. I mean, to be fair, I'd say Upton and Longoria are very – okay, no, I agree with you guys. I'm going Longoria start, Upton sit, and Zimmerman release. So it took us a little while to get But yes, so I think what we should do is while we're deciding and thinking about it, we should establish their primes so that we're all looking at the same times. All righty, so that is matchup number 1. Matchup number 2, this is the relievers matchup. We are going to – I'm going to copy and paste them in after. We have Joaquin Soria, Rafael Soriano, and J.J. Putz. Write it down, and it's still not letting me write. Let's see if it'll let me do this. Soria. Nope. It's just not letting me type in the private chat. So it's Joaquin Soria. I'll let Ryan do the typing here in the chat so we can see it. So we've got Joaquin Soria, Rafael Soriano, and J.J. Putz. So we'll start off with Joaquin Soria, figuring out when his prime is, which, I mean, for relievers is really –
This one hits home to me.
Oh, I know it does.
Because here's the thing. Was he dominant? Oh, there was a spin where that guy was as good as a closer came. So
I'd say it's 2007 through 2015. Just looking at his stats.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Okay. So 2007 to 2015, Joaquin Soria was 19-20. Record doesn't matter with 2.57 ERA, 202 saves. He also had a whip of 1.062 and a FIP of 2.98, which is really, really great. So Joaquin Soria in his prime was definitely a special play. Then we roll over to Rafael Soriano, one of the just, I loved watching this guy pitch. He was so fun to watch. And I would have to say that his prime is from 2000.
I got it.
What? Are you done with everything?
I'd say 2005 to 2010 mainly for Soriano.
I was going to include 2000. I was going to go to 2014, to be honest. He had one bad year in that stretch.
Okay, I can do that.
2005 to 2014. Nick, I know you're done, but we're still
No,
establishing prime.
I'm just thinking. Yeah.
Okay, so Soriano, 2.77 ERA with a 1.066 whip. I mean, this is about as close as it gets, to be honest. I mean, these two are they're just so similar. It's unbelievable. And then we have JJ Putz here for the last one. JJ Putz, not as long of a career. I'd say that his prime, really, I'd say, Ryan, would you agree that it's pretty much 2005 to 2013?
Let me look real quick. I'd go. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
2005, 2013 would be his prime. 2.76 ERA and a whip of 1.096. So I'm ready. I'm locked in. Nick, I know you were ready first, so I'll let you fire away. But I have my lock here.
So yeah, I would start Soria. I would sit Soriano, and I would release Putz.
Completely agree. I would start Soria. I'd have on my bench Soriano, and then I would cut JJ Putz.
So I agree with you with the cut, and we agree with JJ Putz being the cut here. I'm going to flip it with the other one. I'm going to go with starting Soriano and sitting Soria.
Just curious.
They are, for me, they are so laser similar.
If you don't mind me interjecting, Soria has a better ERA, has 3 less saves, cool. Has a better FIP, higher ERA plus, lower whip. Whip is so close you can't even really take that into account.
Yeah, I'm going for overall. I'm going overall with utter dominance at their peaks, and from seeing both of them and knowing what they were at their highest in their prime, where Soriano had more really high peaks, where Soria was just overall really great the whole time, but Soriano had more years where he was just one of the best relievers in baseball. So that's just it's more for me, not even going on the stats. It's going from remembering that part of their careers and just basing it on that and my personal opinion at that point for who I would prefer having in a game, because they're so similar. I picked these guys based on their similarity scores on Baseball Reference, and I mean these guys have the closest similarity scores for a reason. They are very, very similar. JJ Putz obviously is the odd man out, and even he was one of the best relievers in our time. So, it's close to me, but I just personally, I know that I like Rafael Soriano a little bit better than Joaquim Soria for a reason. I'm basing it based on, the 2K games. The guy I would rather have had in there in those times was Rafael Soriano. Obviously different.
Against me. Don't use my own argument against me.
I'm doing it. So we agreed on the first one. We agree with JJ Putz being the odd man out here, but I mean, I have to say these are really, really these are close. They're tight matchups, and that's why it's close for us. Now we come back to present day, and these are players that are currently playing, and well, I wouldn't say currently in their prime, but some of them could be considered currently in their prime. So we have, for matchup number 3, Ryan, I'm expecting you to write them down in the chat for us. Justin Turner, Anthony Rendon, and Nick Castellanos.
Yeah,
now,
that's so easy.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Again, you went 2 infielders and an outfielder.
It's just based on similarity scores. And to be fair, they were all third basemen too at one point.
That is very true. I will give you credit there.
Yeah, they were all at one point third basemen.
Okay, Nick, before you go, let's go over what we're looking at for their primes.
Yeah, it is relatively easy, but I mean, come on, we've got to think about it a little bit. So Turner's prime.
I'm looking at Turner. I'd probably go 2012.
I'd go 2014.
Oh, you got to put 13 in there.
Yeah, but he didn't really play that much. He only played in
That's fair.
86
That's fair.
games.
That's fair. Fine. We can go 14 to present, really.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. So in that time span, Justin Turner, 301 batting average with a 128 home run total and an OPS of 884. So 128 homers, 301 batting average, and an 884 OPS. I would have to say that entering this matchup, I didn't necessarily expect that to be for his prime. I thought it would be a little bit worse. So 301, 128, that's pretty solid. Now we have Anthony Rendon, another current player, the third baseman for the Angels. And honestly, I'd have to say 2014 to present for me. I don't know if you have any different ones.
I'll agree with that. I think that's fine. I think that you're right with that one.
So 142 home runs, a little bit more, a 290 batting average, a little bit less, and an OPS of 867, which is right about the same. So it's a little bit less. So Rendon a little bit lower in that time span. So I'm going to make my adjustment on here so that I can do it. All right, cool.
And
then we have
for Castellanos, if you're ready, I'd go 16 to present.
16 to present.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree. Absolutely. Nick would know better than any, being that he witnessed him in his prime. If my app will oh my gosh, it's not letting me click on the thing. Thank you. So he has 121 homers, the least out of anybody in this time period, a 288 batting average, and an 853 OPS. So I'm ready. Nick, I know you were ready first. So again, we'll start off with you.
So I would start Rendon. Honestly, this is a little tougher. I would sit Turner, release Castellanos.
Okay.
I agree with Nick. I'd start Rendon. I would continue that with benching Turner, and then I'd cut Castellanos.
But I just want to say, by the end of his career, I would probably sit Castellanos. I think Castellanos will end up having a better prime than Turner.
Yeah,
Probably.
I think Turner's prime started a little bit later than anyone
And
would have
we're
expected.
witnessing one of Castellanos' best seasons to date. I think he's tied for the league in batting average right now, and he's having an absurd season.
No, he has the highest batting average right now.
Yeah, him and
Yeah.
Winker, I think.
Yeah, they're the Reds. The Reds boys are elite, yet they're still managing to not even be at the top of the division, which is just quite fascinating. Now, for me, I am again going to flip it a little bit on you guys, and I have my reasoning, and it's very solid reasoning. I'm going to start Justin Turner. I'll explain in a minute. I'm going to sit Anthony Rendon, and I agree with you in releasing Castellanos. I think that Castellanos is really in the prime of his prime right now, when I think Turner and Rendon are maybe a little past the middle of their prime. I think Castellanos is getting –
Castellanos is starting to hit the meat and potatoes of his prime.
Yeah, I feel like
He's starting to really find his peak, and I think that it's a little – I think by the end he could definitely have a case to not just sit, but he might also have a case to even start.
Yeah,
Rendon's just so underrated.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is that Turner has a 301 batting average in his prime with a higher OPS and only about 15 less home runs. So higher batting average by 10 points, higher OPS by about 20 points. Rendon had about 20 more home runs, but a 290 batting average and an 860 OPS. To me, I value the batting average and OPS a little bit higher than I value the home runs.
You have to factor in that Rendon started, 4 years after Turner?
Yeah, but I mean, they still have about the same length in that time.
How many years are you calculating each prime? Like, do they both have the same amount of prime years for you?
I don't remember.
It's fine.
I didn't like write them down. They were about the same. Turner was about 7 years.
The sample size is going to fluctuate.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Which is why I'm focusing more on batting average.
I think
OPS.
for me, at least, another reason why I went with Rendon is because he's still in his prime. He's still killing the ball. He's still finding his groove. Turner, he's starting to hit that end of his career because he's getting older. There were rumors that he was going to retire after winning the World Series. He added a 2-year deal with the Dodgers, but I think that overall it's extremely close between those two. It really is. So
yeah, I'd agree.
I think that basically it's not 1 and 2. I think it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I completely agree. 100%. I think they're very close. Now, for matchup number 4, this is the marquee matchup. And these are the Hall of Famers that I purposely saved for the last one, saving the best for last as I had to. Ryan, I'm ready. I'm sure you're ready to type them up.
I am.
Player number 1, Hank Greenberg. Player number 2,
Hank.
Johnny Mize, and player number 3, Albert Bell. This is going to be a stellar matchup, and I know we all have to look them up here because none of us know their stats by heart. I did look a little bit at them the other day. So Hammer and Hank Greenberg, I mean, one of the best offensive players in the history of the game. He finished his career with 331 home runs. 4 seasons of his major league career were cut out because of other issues, especially as the first one. I mean, the 1933 is where you have to start it. And honestly, I'd say 1946 is the ending of it, because the year after, yes, he had 25 homers, but he only batted 249. But it's up to you. We can include 1947 if you would like.
Nick, I'll let you make that call.
I'm looking. What usually? No, I would do from 34. No, wait. Yeah, I would do.
I think we gotta include 33.
33 till 40.
40?
I mean,
44 home runs and 46.
I know, but like there's 3 years he didn't play in between that. I mean, you could count the 46 season as an outlier.
That's true. I agree. To be fair, yeah, we did count a few of the other ones as outliers. I could see that. So 33 to 40, and I mean, in this 8-year span, he hit 247 homers with a 326 batting average and a 1.043 OPS. I mean, he's just unbelievable. 1,000 RBIs, 1,001 to be exact. I mean, that's pretty hard to top. So 247, 326, and 1036. Then we have Johnny Mize, good old Johnny Mize.
36 through 48 would be mine for him.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
I'd agree on 36 and 48. Yeah, I'd have to completely agree. A lot of people missing time in there, obviously, because of World War II. 297 home runs, so more home runs. But again, this is over a 13-year span as opposed to 8 years for Hank Greenberg. Yeah. Batting 324 with a 997 OPS. So let's count out home runs and stuff in the long run. I think we should more focus on the 324 batting average and 997 OPS, which batting average about the same, OPS slightly lower. And then we go over to Albert Bell, who is just unbelievable and one of the better power hitters of our pre-generation. And I'd say for him, you got to go 1991 all the way to 2000.
Yeah, 91 through 2000. I'd go.
Which is a 10-year span. So a fairly similar span, but 373 home runs. That is overwhelmingly more than anybody, and it's 2 less years than we saw from Johnny Mize. Then a 298 batting average, so significantly lower, and a 945 OPS. So if we're going strictly based on OPS and batting average and those numbers that are more cumulative as opposed to the or more average rather, as opposed to 373, which can, you never know what Hank Greenberg would have done if he played for those extra 3 years. He wouldn't have hit 100 home runs, but you never know. I think I have my 3. I do. I have my 3.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to start Hank Greenberg, sit Johnny Mize, and release Albert Bell. Albert Bell's power numbers are unmatched with the amount of home runs he had, but because of the year discrepancy, I would have to say that his other numbers, these are so close, but sometimes you're just going to have to make that judgment based on the numbers that they had.
I 1,000% agree. It was hard choosing between Mize and Bell, because I really wanted to fit Bell in there because of the power, because he did have substantial power numbers, but I don't think you can discredit Mize in his average and his OPS. I think it's too good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would start Greenberg, sit Mize, and release Bell.
I'm going to disagree with you guys.
That's fair.
I agree with the starter. I'm going to start Greenberg. I'm going to bench Bell and cut Mize. I think what I have to say is Bell ended his career as well as anyone could. 373 homers over 10 years is insane. And I think I want that power bat on my bench. I don't care really about the batting average at that point. I want that power. And he's showed that he has a ton of power. So I'm going to go with Albert Bell as my bench guy.
I have no problems with that. So our first time doing start, sit, release. I think that was fun. I enjoyed it. I definitely would. I would definitely do more of these. These were really enjoyable. Obviously, with the random picks that I do for these are I can't really control the randomness of it.
All I care about is that all of us had fun.
I agree. I had a lot of fun too. I wish Marco was here, but he'll be here for hopefully the next edition of this. But that was fun. But we still got more show to do. Don't leave just yet. We've got our power rankings, and we are going to run the bases. So let's roll with our power rankings. And boy, oh boy, whew, power rankings have gotten.
I feel like Michael's going to hate mine.
I'm not going to hate yours. I'm not going to hate anybody's. It's been 3 weeks. Power rankings are so drastically different today than they were 3 weeks ago. I mean, it's virtually completely different. There is, let's see, I don't think I have any people that are in the exact same position that they were 3 weeks ago. There are a few that are close. Yeah, not a single team is in the exact same spot that they were 3 weeks ago. And I mean, it's pretty crazy. So we're starting with number 30, and then I'm also going to say my biggest fall as well because they're not in the top. Number 30, I'm sure we all can agree, is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, they're the worst team in baseball. They
haven't won. They're on a
at all
10-game losing
streak.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like they've lost like 24 out of 26. I mean,
it's not looking good for the Diamondbacks.
I mean, at least we have the Suns in Arizona. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Rally the Valley, baby.
Rally the Valley.
That's all we can look forward to. I will say this, though, their new jerseys are dope.
They are. I was really tempted to buy one on Fanatics. The Serpientes. Oh, so cool. I really love that. I'm not going to though. But
who should get though? Ketel Marte?
Yeah, no, it was Bumgarner was the only one.
Oh yeah, you definitely Bumgarner.
Yeah, I mean but he's probably going to be traded anyway, so it's probably not worth it. So the biggest fall of the last 2 weeks, I had to make it so that they fell the same number because I needed to point out both of their dramatic fall offs over the last 3 weeks. The Yankees and the Cardinals dropped 16 spots apiece. The Yankees from number 7 to number 23, and the Cardinals from number 8 to number 24. I mean, they have both. The Yankees, the Cardinals especially, the Cardinals are under 500. They were about 8 games over at one point. How do you fall that badly? And the Yankees are 1 game over.
Jack Flaherty's hurt too.
Yeah, exactly. So
pitching's not getting it done. And the Yankees are hurt once again, and the offense and pitching staff just aren't there.
Yeah, it's just the pitching staff.
I did not expect this from the Yankees. I
didn't either.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's a rough.
Obviously,
really rough.
Outside of the demigod and Cole himself, it's just not good.
Yeah. I mean the bottom.
Losing Tanaka is proven to be killer. They should have done what it took.
We knew that.
Yeah, we knew it.
You can't rely on a 40-year-old Kluber because he's gonna get hurt, and he already has.
And he's hurt. And Taillon hasn't really proven to be any.
I don't know why they don't have Debbie Garcia up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we all said it. The biggest mistake was letting Tanaka go. And
that was bad.
It's being proven as of right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. So, I mean, the bottom 6 in baseball right now, I'll just go backwards. At number 30, I've got Diamondbacks, 29, the Twins, 28, the Orioles, 27, the Pirates, 26, the Tigers, and 25, the Rockies. I mean, those 6 are just – they are in a league of their own.
You see the Rangers?
In terms of – no, the Rangers are a little higher because they had one stretch in the last 2 weeks where they were playing really well. They won like 6 out of 7. So they're on their way. They're about 2 games from being back down in that bottom. The only thing separating them in the bottom are the Yankees and the Cardinals, who are going to soon join that. But I mean, those 6 teams are in a league of their own in terms of how bad they are. I mean, they are just playing so poorly that, I mean, you play them, you expect to win every game. And Ryan, for your sake, the Royals are at number 20. They're not that bad. They're sticking around.
It should be lower.
I don't think.
I mean, I'm being honest with you right now. I would put them below the Cardinals and Yankees.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
The Royals are 2-8 in their past 10. The pitching looks horrible. The bats they went off in one game and they've just been dead since then. Ever since beating the Twins 14-5, bats have really been dead. And now Benintendi's on the IL with a hairline fracture in his rib.
Whew.
So not looking good.
Yeah, it's really yeah.
I'll say it this way: if the Royals don't take 2 out of 3 from Detroit, I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're going to keep coaching baseball.
I don't think we're that bad, honestly. Like we're not that bad. We're bad.
No, you're at the top of the bottom. To be fair,
I guess, but you have to put the Rangers.
You're at the top of something.
You have to put the Rangers with us, bro. Like the Rangers are so bad.
Yeah, they're gonna be there in a day. Give them one day. They're like they were at. I had them at like 14 when they won like 6 out of 7 or whatever, and then they dropped right back down, and they're still in that.
We had one more win and 2 less losses than them.
Yeah, you'll get there. Give it a day, like I said. And power rankings aren't just about overall season. It's a lot about how they're playing at the moment too. So we'll roll off with number 10, and at number 10 for me, I've got the Mets. They've been really fluctuating between 12 and 7 over the last few weeks. But they're don't get me wrong, they're up there with the best of the best right now. I would say right now the top 12 teams in my power rankings are in another league of their own where they are in a different tier above the rest, and then you've got the bottom that are in another tier. The Mets are definitely in that, and at this point it's just a matter of being better than the teams above them. And right now, at this minute in time, I don't think that they are. They're still playing very well, but I just can't have them any higher than 10.
For me, at 10, I have the Astros. The Astros are really starting to turn it on. It's just the team that I have at 9 showed a lot to me this past week to where I put them at 9 for a reason. So the Astros are still playing good. They're just not there yet to where I can put them above the team at 9.
Yeah, I also have the Astros at 10. I mean, like Ryan said, they've been kind of on a hot cold type kind of thing lately, but lately they've won 6 out of their past 10. They're starting to find a little bit of a groove. Michael Brantley's been on fire at the plate. Oh my goodness, and they've just been consistent.
That's fair. I have them at 9, so I have them just barely over the Mets, predominantly because their bats have been a lot more awake. I mean, the Mets. If the Mets were fully healthy right now, they'd probably be at number 4. But because they're not fully healthy, the bats aren't as awake as they could be. And they're still scoring runs, and they scored runs off of a very good Padres team. So, I have the Astros a little bit above because of how much they routed a much better team in the Red Sox. I mean, they just dominated them. But, yeah, it's really close between them and the Mets.
I put the Mets at 9. I think what they did against San Diego really proved something despite all the injuries that they've been going through. So I'm going to have them just above the Astros at 9.
I have the Red Sox at 9. I mean, yeah, you can make the case after the Toronto series they should not be in the top 10. For me, they were borderline top 5 before the Toronto series, and they did scuffle a little bit in that series. I'm not going to lie, but overall, they're still a very solid team. You know what you're going to get with the bats. It's just the pitching is a question mark, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have them at 8. They were definitely a top 5 team, and then they hit the Astros and Blue Jays, who have kind of knocked them down a few pegs. But, I mean, they've been so good that you can't really take them out of that top 10 just yet. But, they're just hitting a little bit of a rough patch right now. I think they'll get out of it eventually. So they're at my number 8.
I have the Red Sox at 8, too. I think it's just their pitching is not getting it done. And they proved that yesterday when they allowed 8 home runs to be hit off of them. And that's our whole thing with them coming into the years. They have pieces in that lineup that can do damage. They just don't have the pitching to back it up. Could that change when we get Chris Sale back? Hopefully. I don't know what kind of Chris Sale we're going to get back, but as of right now, what's holding them back is their pitching.
Yeah. I have the Cubs next at 8. They've been playing really, really good underrated baseball. I feel like they've won 5 straight. I have not much to say. That right now they're tied in their division with the Brewers right now, which no one expected at all. and then they've definitely been surging. Chris Bryant's been looking better at the plate. Pat Wisdom has been an absolute stud since he's been called up. Yeah, so I have the Cubs at 8.
I have the Cubs a lot higher on this list, but we'll get to them soon. I have the Brewers at number 7. They have just been fighting it so hard up there at the top of the division with the Cubs. They're holding their own. I mean, they were at 18 last time we did this. They were up at the top, and they fell back down, and they're right back up there again. They're definitely fighting a good fight.
We're on 7, right?
Yes.
Padres. They're slipping right now. And their inability to score runs. I know they faced DeGrom, but they should be able to do more than 2 hits off of them because of how talented that lineup is. And that's nothing against DeGrom at all, Michael. That's
what your
look was.
DeGrom's DeGrom this year. No one's
lineup is. They should be able to get more than 2 hits off of him, and I think that they're slipping. They're 4-6 in the last 10, and I think that's having an effect. So as of right now, they're at 7, but it's close.
I didn't even put them in my top 10 just because they've been so bad lately. I have them at 11, but they just fell so much.
Okay, that's excusable, but we'll move on from that.
7, I have the Brewers. I mean, you could argue that they're the hottest team in baseball right now. They've won 9 of their past 10. Yelich is back in that lineup, which just adds so much. Willie Adames has been so underrated from that Rays trade. He's been hitting the corkscrews out of that baseball, and their pitching rotation's dominant as it gets. Woodruff, Burns, it's Hader in the bullpen.
Don't forget my boy Freddie Peralta. He's pitching.
Freddie Peralta on my fantasy team. I totally forgot. He's actually the number 1 fantasy pitcher right now. But that Brewers rotation, that team is like filthy, and they're going to give the Cardinals a run for their money in the division right now. If the Cardinals even catch up.
Yeah, and right now they're not. At number 6, I've got the Oakland Athletics, who have just been they've stayed in this top 10 all year except for the first 2 weeks where they were just the worst team in baseball. But ever since their 1-14 start, I mean they are really, really good, and they're playing the baseball that they should have from the start, and I could only imagine if they started this hot, they would probably be right towards the top. But just because of their rough beginning, it probably has held them back from being a top 3 team all year.
6, I have the Brewers. This team is on fire. They're playing incredible baseball. Willie Adames, we did not think a ton about that trade, and I said I think he just needed a new place. He needs some relocation, a change of scenery, and that's what it's proven to be. He's hitting the ball extremely well. He's playing good defense like he always has. He's been a good defender. And the pitching is dominant. Still got Devin Williams and Hader in the bullpen, but then you got a dominant trio in the starting rotation that's taken over. So this Brewers team is dangerous. So I have them at 6. Like Nick said, they've won 9 out of their past 10 for a reason.
6, I have the Padres, and I know that's after the couple of weeks they've had, it's not totally accurate by maybe your guys' standards. But for me, I just feel like they were definitely a top 3 team, top 5 team easily, like before they started scuffling. And they did just get their leadoff hitter back, and I'm blanking on his name.
Trent Grisham.
Trent Grisham.
Yes.
They did just get him back. Tatis looks good. Obviously, Tatis has been scuffling a little bit, but obviously hit the grand slam the other day, hitting around the 280s. I feel like, but this Padres team is always going to be competing no matter what. They're so good inside and out with their rotation and their lineup. So I have them at 6 right now.
Now we cracked the top 5, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this because you always give me heat when I don't have them at number 1. It is the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have, yes, been very good, and yes, they are definitely one of the best teams in baseball, but they are not playing as the definite best team in baseball right now. They're playing very well, but I think we've reached a point in the season where the Dodgers can't just be the number 1 because they're the Dodgers. They have to be adjusted appropriately, which is why I have them at number 5. And like I said, there was a time where they were right where the Yankees are right now at the bottom because they just were that bad. The Dodgers have picked it right back up, and I'd say give it a couple weeks and they should be right back up there in the top 3, maybe a week.
Yeah, they need to get Seager back.
Yeah, that's true.
Gavin Lux has played great. Something against Gavin Lux, but Gavin Lux is not Corey Seager.
Well, Seager was playing very bad this year, so at this point, Lux is an upgrade based on what Seager was playing.
Corey Seager
was fine.
Yeah.
For me at 5, I went with the Athletics. I think that team is really good. They just took 3 out of 4 from the Royals, who are struggling. But I think that when you look at this team, their pitching is looking good. Their offense is able to put up a ton of runs. They're able to get guys on base and get them around very well. So I have to put the Athletics in the top 5. They're one of 3 teams, one of 3 teams with 40 wins. And it's impressive.
5 for me, I have the Giants. They've definitely been the biggest surprise of the year so far, and it's not close. No one even thought that this late in the season that they would be one of the first teams with 40 wins. But they are. Brandon Crawford has hit the fountain of youth along with Buster Posey. And that Kevin Gausman is easily a sleeper for Cy Young, even though it's not close. DeGrom's going to easily walk away with that.
DeGrom should win MVP at this point.
I agree. It's not close.
Yes.
It's not close. He has more. He's more
close.
He has more.
Close to him is Acuna, but nobody can touch DeGrom.
Actually, I would probably say Winker's probably 2 right now, but we can talk about that later.
Everyone else is talking about Tatis. I'm like, no, he's.
I don't know, bro. The average doesn't do it for me right now.
I agree.
Isn't that high, and
he's also
dismissed.
And he's how many errors does he have?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
that's the case against Tatis.
For me,
he's still in there, but I don't think he's above Acuna at all.
No.
Giants are 5 for me. You can move on.
Okay. Cool. I have the Giants. Not yet, but soon. I have the White Sox at number 4, and when I tell you that they're probably tied with the Dodgers right now, like tied with the Dodgers, it's pretty accurate. Like they are tied. The only reason why the White Sox are higher is because they have a little bit of a better record and because they won yesterday. That's literally my only reasoning. But the White Sox have been phenomenal. They have been playing just really great baseball. They're slowly running away with the division, and I give them a little bit of time, and I think they'll be probably the first team to clinch this year.
Number 4, I went with the Dodgers. This Dodgers team is playing a lot better. They're getting Gonsolin back. They're getting healthier, but they're just not quite there yet. And I think getting Seager back will help. This is a team that was in 3rd in their division, and now they're only a game behind the Giants, who are playing exceptional baseball. So this Dodgers team is starting to hit their stride. Once they hit it, they're going to take off, and it's not going to be close because they're going to prove why they're the best team in baseball. But again, it's just going to take a little bit more time. They got to get fully healthy.
Yeah, 1,000% agree. I have the Dodgers at 4 also. And while we know that this team is capable of being the best in baseball by a long margin, they just haven't looked that way. And that's just because of injuries, and I wholeheartely believe that. Julio Urias isn't pitching the best of his career right now, and it shows. But Kershaw looks good. Bauer's consistent. You're going to get from Buehler. Once they get healthy,
Buehler does not lose. Buehler just doesn't lose.
He's like 23 straight starts? It's ridiculous.
Yes, dating back to the postseason, I think it's 23 straight starts where he has not lost.
Wow.
And I think
great.
I think it was since the NLCS game where he gave up the grand slam to Acuna where he lost that game. But anyway, once they get Seager and Bellinger in that same lineup looking healthy again, that team is scary beyond imaginable. Yeah, Dodgers at 4 for now.
I'm a little intrigued, Ryan. Have you said the Giants yet? Okay, so then there's one team in my top 3 that you don't have in your top 10, which is what? They're my number 3. How do you not have them in the top 10? I don't understand that. I have the Cubs at number 3. I don't know how you don't have the Cubs in the top 10. They're easily one of the hottest teams in baseball. Right, and I think that's low. The Cubs have won 5 in a row. They're first in the division.
I had the Cubs at 8 too. And what really does it for me is I'm not sold. I'm not sold on them yet.
I agree.
They started out hot and then they fell apart. And then now they're hot again. They need to stay hot or at least not just completely collapse. I'm not completely sold yet. They're number 11 easily. I almost put them at 10 over the Astros, but I just need more consistency. You can't go high then low, high and low. This isn't the stock market.
I agree. In terms of power rankings for me, they've climbed their way over the other teams recently. But it's been close. But I have them at number 3. They've just been playing really well. I'm a little scared because now they play the Mets, and the Mets are playing. This is the highest ranked a team has been when they enter a Mets series. So I'm a little nervous, but hopefully the Mets can shut them right back down.
3, I have the Giants. Giants have been the surprising team of the year. Posey's feeling it. Crawford's feeling it. The pitching's been great. Desclafani, Wood, of course, Gosman. The pitching has been terrific. The hitting, they're able to bring runs across. This is not what I expect from this team at all. I expect them to be around 500 in third place at the end of the year. Solid season. They're right now at the top of the best division in baseball.
Yeah.
And they're playing exceptional, so I have them at 3.
I have the other team in the Bay at 3. I got the A's. And, man, when you talk about surprising, I think this is also a team that you should talk about because obviously while this division may not be the strongest, I still don't think the A's would be this good. The Matt brothers have been killing it. Chapman and Olsen. Olsen is quietly having one of the better years of his career. Chris Bassett's been underrated, has been a very underrated pitcher for them all year long. And they just find ways to win. I don't know. They even in that terrible stadium that it will be gone soon, they find ways to win off the walk-off, of different ways. And I don't know, they're a fun, gritty team. I never, like Michael said, ever since their 1-14 start, they've been the best team in baseball by a large margin, record-wise.
Yeah, they've been really special. I mean, Nick's going more on the if they were like this all year, they'd be something really special. Now, number 2, I know a lot of people are saying they're the biggest surprise of the year, but I think we all have to agree that the number 1 team is. But I think at number 2, the Giants, I mean, they have just been so good. They have been dominant with everything. They've beaten the Dodgers. They've beaten the Padres. It's not like they're going out there and beating the Orioles, the Twins, and the Pirates. They are in first place from beating really good teams. I believe, I mean, we've said it before, I think they're going to taper off after a while, but for right now, man, number 2 is they are definitely a top 3 team in baseball.
Number 2, I got to go with the White Sox. This team is playing out of their mind, and they're without 2 of their best players in the outfield. They're without Robert, and they're without Jimenez. They're without 2 key pieces of their outfield, and look how great they're playing. I know, Eric. Then I want to look at their pitching staff. Keuchel's been solid, but Rodon, Lance Lynn, Giolito, then you got Hendricks to close it out. This team is dangerous. There's a reason I predicted them to go to the World Series because this team is that good, and they've continued to prove it, along with Yermin Mercedes in his breakout year as a rookie. So this White Sox team has to be number 2 for me because they're dominating.
Yeah, 100%. This White Sox team is 2 for me. And they easily, out of all the divisional leaders, they have the largest lead between first and second. And they'll probably be the first team to clinch the division just because the AL Central is pretty bad considering the Indians are in second. They're only 6 games above 500. But no, Ryan, you hit everything. The White Sox are scary good. The rotation's amazing. Lance Lynn, I think, is second in the league in ERA right now, which no one would expect. But he just continues to pour it on every day. That bullpen is solidified with Hendricks at the end of it. You know, Giolito, Rodon. Rodon almost no-hit the Tigers yesterday. He only gave them 1 hit, and we got lucky off of that. So the lineup is just so good. Abreu's having a down year, and they're still finding ways to win. Tim Anderson's playing well. You just said it, Yermin Mercedes, who actually hasn't been playing lately, still is having a breakout year. They have guys all over the place. They have defense, they have offense, they have pitching. They're complete, and they're the second best team in baseball right now.
Yeah, I mean, they have been playing very well.
Okay, can we just all agree the Rays are the best team in baseball right now?
I was gonna play it up. I was gonna go. Let's say our
because I got to lead on a few. We don't need to.
Ryan,
we don't need to hide it.
You just ruined it. Man. You
ruined
it.
Get out of here.
It's fine. Ryan ruined everything, but it's okay. The Rays, by far, like not even a question, as the best team in baseball are the Tampa Bay Rays. And yeah, I would say they're the biggest surprise. I mean, for a team that I think we all expected to not even make the playoffs this year, they're running away with the division. And I mean, it's really been incredible what they've been doing. They were the first team to 40 wins. I don't think anyone would have even thought to put even $1 on that. they're just playing really well. So Tampa Bay Rays, number one. The biggest jump for me were the Brewers. They jumped 11 spots from 18 to 7. They're probably just going to keep on going up. So that's it for the power rankings. We now run the bases. We throw it over to you, Ryan, to start us off with the team of the week. It's been 3 weeks, so I'm sure you've got a lot of good stuff for us.
Okay, so I have a team from this past week and a team from the past 27 days where we have not been on air because Michael does not trust us. So let's start with the 3-week team. Catcher, hold on. I have people being too loud.
It's okay. We have an update right now. Shane Bieber is going to hit the IL with a shoulder strain. He will be reevaluated.
Yeah.
He was going to go 2 weeks without throwing a baseball. He's probably going to be out for a month. That's a really rough break for the Indians.
It's a horrible break, but they still got a lot of talented pitchers. Nobody like Bieber because he's one of the best in the game, but that team just consistently brings up great pitching.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, team of the week from the past 3 weeks. Catcher, Salvi. First base, Vladdy. Second base, Ozzy. Third base, Wisdom. Short, I went with Fernando Tatis. Left field, I went Jesse Winker. Center field, I went Cedric Mullins. Right field, Nicholas Castellanos. And then DH was a tie between Matt Olson and Miguel Sano. And then for pitching, I actually went with 5 starters and 5 relief guys because it's hard to do something
That's
when
true.
it's been 4 weeks. My starting rotation, as I would like to say, DeGrom, Gosman, Wheeler, Woodruff, and Lance Lynn. In the bullpen, I've got Ryan Tepera of the Cubs, Jake Brents of the Royals, Ranger Suarez of the Reds, Craig Kimbrell. Oh, wait, I've got 6. Josh Hader and Liam Hendricks. And then honorable mentions, which is this week's team.
Oh.
Catcher, Max Stassi of the Angels. First base, Vladdy. Second base, Jazz Chisholm. Third base, Justin Turner. Shortstop, Bo Bichette. Left field, Michael Brantley. Center field, Starling Marte. Right field, Robbie Grossman. DH is Matt Olson or Salvador Perez. And then my pitching, DeGrom, Bueller, Nola, and Zach Davies. And then there's been one team consistent throughout this past week and the past 3 weeks, Tampa Bay Rays. Done.
Agree completely. That was great. Alrighty, Nick, we throw it over to you at second base for players to watch.
We'll start off in the dumpster fires because that's where most of the players that are on this list come from because you just haven't heard of them. Adam Frazier will lead us off with a .336 batting average, 2 home runs, 24 RBIs for the dumpster fire Pirates. Next, I have Isaiah Kinner-Felita, quietly hitting .294, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs for the Rangers. And the only bright spot in that D-backs lineup right now, Pevin Smith, quietly hitting .288, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs. And these are players on teams that are contending that you know of but are having quiet seasons. Teoscar Hernandez has been a big part of that Blue Jays lineup. .294 average, 10 home runs, 40 RBIs. I think he had a 2 home run game where they're both three-run home runs the other day against Boston. Absolutely crazy. Matt Olson, I mentioned him earlier, quietly hitting .289, 18 home runs, 47 RBIs. He's definitely an AL MVP sleeper right now, especially with the way the A's are playing. And Tyler O'Neill, .286, 15 home runs, 32 RBIs for the Cardinals. And we'll go to the pitching. Zach Wheeler, I feel like no one's mentioned his name this year, but he's quietly leading the NL in strikeouts with a 2.29 ERA. He's definitely been the best pitcher on that Phillies staff. Been so electric. Lance Lynn, mentioned him earlier too. 7-1 record, 1.23 ERA. Doesn't get much better than that if you're Lance Lynn. And then Chris
I didn't
Bassett.
even know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Chris Bassett for the Oakland A's, 7-2 record, 3.4 ERA, 91 strikeouts. Those are your players to watch.
Incredible. See, this is why I wanted you to do that, because I knew you'd come up with the best ones. So we round third and head home because Marco's not here. And we are going to do my top moments of the week. It's normally a top 5, but well, for this week, it's a top 10 because, well, it's been 3 weeks. So there's been a lot going on, and I want to have one honorable mention that I just felt was so special that I wanted to talk about for a brief moment. I was there at the game. The honorable mention that I have today is Lou Gehrig Day, MLB's first Lou Gehrig's Day on June 2nd. It was a powerful day in Major League Baseball, being there, seeing people at the stadium that were supporting the funding of research for ALS. It was a really powerful moment, being there, feeling the atmosphere. I think it was great that MLB is doing it. I think that players should be donating their salaries. It is one of the only things in the world that you have a 100% death rate when you get it. Like, not a single person has ever survived ALS. I believe that they really should start donating a lot more money to this, because it is a horrible thing that when you find out someone has ALS, that you just know they're not going to survive. It is a terrible, terrible thing. And with the amount of money that is circulating throughout Major League Baseball, there's no reason for there not to be more money poured into it. So I feel that was an important thing to mention. So number 10 and the top 10 moments of the week, we have Miguel. First of all, a lot of these things were in May. There really haven't been anything since pretty much May 21st. May 18th, Miguel Sano, 3-homer game. Really impressive, just dominant outing from him. 3-homer games are so rare that this probably would have ended up being number 2 or number 3 in an average week, but it's number 10 because, well, it's been 3 weeks. Now at number 9, we have Cody Bellinger's impressive first inning, where he got 6 RBIs in the first inning with a 2-run single and a grand slam on June 2nd. It was a masterful game. He was just the first inning king. It was probably the best first inning performance we've seen from a hitter since, best 1-inning performance, I should say, since Fernando Tatis hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. I mean, 6 RBIs is about as hard as it is to get 8. Then at number 8, this one would have probably been number 1 in 90% of weeks. Javier Baez's sneak play to allow a run to score. This was one of the wackiest moments of the year. Yes, Ryan.
That is one of the dumbest plays ever. There were 2 outs.
I know. That's the point.
Take the bag. No, I don't think that's as good of a play as everyone seems. That just shows how bad of a dumpster fire the Pirates are, that they don't have the IQ to know, yeah, there's 2 outs. He's out. Just take the ball from first, step on the bag, inning over. But instead,
that's why
scores you give up 2 bags.
That's why I wanted to put it on here, because Javier Baez was so smart that he was like, okay, there's 2 outs. I'm obviously going to be out, but I'm going to trick them into thinking that there's not. I mean, like, why would any batter run the other way with 2 outs? You know, it's just, to me, it's the mentality of Javier Baez to know in that moment that he can trick the Pirates into thinking that there's less than 2 outs. It's just, it was the dumbest play, absolutely, in the last 3 weeks, but it had to crack the top 10. Now at number 7, Luke Williams and the magical moment that he had. I didn't put the date down, but it was a few days ago for the Philadelphia Phillies. His first MLB home run was a walk-off 2-run homer to beat the Braves 2-1. They were down to their last out in the bottom of the 9th. Williams is not only was this just his first big league home run, but the reason it's so special is because he was so emotional after the game, just crying because his family was there, able to be a part of this moment. I don't know the whole backstory, but he got so emotional about it that I know it has to be something very special. So it was a special moment for him. It's a special moment on this list. Now, at number 6, we have the Twins turning a triple play. Anytime there's a triple play, I mean, you've got to mention it. It's a triple play. It happens probably once every few years.
Okay, that's my cue to leave. See you guys later. That's my cue to leave.
Okay.
I broke a wood bat when I saw that.
Yeah,
I snapped a wood bat. Just snapped it.
Why?
Because it shouldn't have happened. Nicky Lopez has to know. The runners are going. Put the bat above the ball and just get the bunt down. Well, I knew once it went up in the air it was a triple play. I just knew it. Yeah.
So you're just mad because it was against the Royals. If it was against anyone else, it's
I'm not mad at all.
Yeah, I know.
I actually do have to go, guys, but this was a lot of fun.
Well, Nick, we'll reconvene sometime soon, hopefully. We're maybe doing Mondays. We'll figure it out at some point.
We'll figure it out.
Yes, we will.
Much love to you guys. I will catch you guys next time.
Absolutely, Nick. We'll see you. It was fun to have
Nick,
you. So now that it's just you and I, we have the top 5 here. At number 5, we have Jesse Winker's 2 3-homer games. 2 3-homer games in this stretch. One on May 21st and one on June 6th. The likelihood of you hitting a 3-homer game in general is very rare, let alone 2 in the matter of 2 weeks. It was really, really cool, and definitely at number 5. Now, number 4, we have the Yankees turning a triple play. That was on May 21st as well. That was a really cool triple play, which is why they're above the Twins. Then number 3, which was a really special moment just for baseball in general, Josh Donaldson scoring baseball's 2 millionth run ever, which was a moment for baseball.
What is it with you and the Twins against the Royals? What is it with you and the Twins against the Royals, okay? I don't like this trend. I don't like this trend, Michael.
I'm very sorry.
You're trying to get at me here.
I put the Royals at 20. Be happy. Be happy. They were at the number 20 team in baseball. So, yeah, the 2 millionth run it's really special. To have 2 million runs in baseball history is really, really crazy and obviously a monumental moment. Now, number 2, we get into the 2 no-hitters. At number 2, we have Corey Kluber's no-hitter on May 19th, which was a just masterful game against the Rangers. He just was dominant. And then at number 1, Spencer Turnbull's no-hitter on May 18th, the day before, where he, and it's too bad Nick's not here, but where he no-hit the Seattle Mariners. That was more special, obviously, because Spencer Turnbull is not a notable name. Of course.
You know my favorite part about that no-hitter?
What?
That put the Mariners' team batting average under the Mendoza line.
Did it really? That's incredible. That's really incredible. That's rough. It's rough. Rough to be the Mariners. I mean, Jared Kelenic comes up, plays 2 weeks, and then is sent down. That's the poor Mariners. So that'll do it for today's show. It is our reunion show after a few weeks off. We hope to be back maybe Mondays. We still haven't figured it out yet because Ryan and Marco on exact opposite schedules. Nick and I can make things work.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
When duty calls, I got to go,
we might have to just make it if it can't work out. We might just have to do rotating schedules where 1 week we work on Marco's schedule and you can't be here, and 1 week we work on your schedule and Marco can't be here. Because the way it's looking, there's literally no times where we're all free at the same time, and the only problem are you and Marco. So we're going to have to figure it out.
I'll figure something out.
We'll figure it out. We're going to have to make it work somehow. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you all next time, whenever that will be. Hopefully it will be next Monday, same time. We're going to make it work. We will be here. We're going to figure it out. Thank you guys for tuning in to Running the Base Season 4, Episode 8. Have a good